This is Season 2, Episode 3 of the TO SportsTalk Podcast. I'm your host, James Price, along with Evan Brown. And it's really, really cold outside. It's colder than it has been lately. But you know what else is really cold? The Toronto Maple Leafs. And that was your quote coming into it, and I love it.
Yes, it was. Before the podcast, I'm like, dude, you have to start off with that, and you did.
Yep,
Thank you for actually taking my advice for once.
Well, hey, there you go. I mean, it was good. It was good.
In the last 10, they're 5-5. Not good.
Right.
How they lost is a different story. Going to the New Jersey game, they won 4-2. A greasy win.
Heck, they were up 3-0, and they gave up 2 goals in like 30 seconds to make it a 3-2 game late in the second.
Hutchinson was in net for that game. He didn't look bad. The team just kind of looked slow, but you know what? They got the win. Life moves on. Then you go to Hockey Night in Canada against Boston. Saturday night. Was it? Yes, it was at home. They lost 3-2.
They had a 2-1 lead. And the problem that I have with that game, and something I've noticed with the Leafs, I feel like in the last 2 minutes of a period, they kind of sit back and relax. Like, okay, we're good. We're going to ride into the period like this.
They have bad starts. And they, at the beginning of each period, it just seems like they just start out so slow. Mike Babcock really has to work on that with the team.
Right. But look, when I look at that game against the Bruins, it's the last 20 seconds of that second period that decided the factor of that game. It's Nikita Zaitsev along the wall, has the puck in his skates, and doesn't even look to see where he's going with it. Just kind of kicks it down into the corner, right to David Krejci. Or is it David Krejci who had it?
I think so.
Who scored that goal, actually? I'm going to find that here. The third goal, right? Because the second goal, it was Pastrnak, wasn't it? Yeah, David Pastrnak. So Sean Corrali down low.
With a 3-point night from Sean Corrali.
3-point night from their fourth liner.
We know we were talking last year about how Zaitsev is probably going to have a bounce back year.
We were hoping for it.
And he's looked terrible worse than last year.
And he wasn't healthy as much. He wasn't all that healthy last year. But when he wasn't great. And this year he's been healthy and just downright awful.
Well, last year that was the excuse.
Right, exactly.
He wasn't healthy.
Exactly.
He had a child. A lot of things were going in his life, So this season, you've been in the NHL for 3 years now. Well, for a year and a half. This is your third year. Step up and prove your worth like you were in your first year. Mind you, in his first year when he did get, 30, 35 points, he was on the power play. You're still logging huge minutes. You're still getting, obviously, a massive contract. You're playing with Jake Gardiner, who is great putting out points offensively, so that would help out Zaitsev. I wouldn't be opposed to putting him on the power play again, just to get his mojo going, if there is left any.
Who would you take off the power play?
Well, the Leafs are struggling right now. I would take off maybe Jake Gardiner, maybe take off, I don't know, Janssen, and then just put in Zaitsev, because again, in his first year on the power play, he looked good, right?
Yeah.
And he got 30, 35 points in his first year. We thought we had something. We signed him to the massive deal. Hasn't lived up to it at all. He's looked horrible this year.
Yeah. And leading to that goal, it was he kicked the puck down low, and there's no one there except for Sean Corrali, and he just centers it to Pastrnak. Leafs are snoozing. They don't see him. They don't see David Pastrnak going right to the net, and he just fires it past Hutchinson. And that with 15 seconds left in the second period, if you went into the intermission 2-2, you never know what's going to happen at that point.
No.
But you have no momentum. You gave up 2 goals in basically the final 5 minutes. And you tie the game and then for them to take the lead. And then you come out in the third period, you get outshot 10-6, and you lose. The funny thing is, though, and I think we've talked about this before, when the Leafs outshoot teams, they lose. When they get outshot like crazy and they give up 45, 50 shots, they find ways to win.
And
in this game against Boston, they outshot the Bruins 32-29 and lost 3-2.
But it's against the Bruins, and it just seems like we can never beat these guys. This is the team. It doesn't matter who's injured for the Bruins and who's healthy for us. We can never beat this team.
And the sad part is, and the scary part about that is, that's probably the team we're going to be facing in round 1, if it's there or if it's in Toronto first.
I would rather face Tampa in the first round than Boston.
I agree.
I'm so sick. You know what, Boston? You can have your laugh. You're a better hockey team than us in the playoffs and in the regular season. Have your laugh. I don't want to face you in the playoffs. I'm sorry. If it's in the second round, okay, but definitely not in the first round.
The scary part is the only way that will happen is if the Leafs fall out of a playoff, fall out of a divisional spot and are in wild card because no one's passing Tampa.
Well, right now that looks like that's the case because Montreal Canadiens are 2 points behind the Leafs with games in hand.
1 point.
1 point.
And the Leafs have 3 games in hand.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
But
very shocking.
But still, they're only 1 point back, and they've won 3 in a row, and the Leafs have lost 2 straight. And so have the Bruins since they beat the Leafs.
So it wouldn't be a shocker if the Leafs made the wild card. I mean, I would be disappointed, obviously, but kudos to Montreal for knocking Buffalo out of a playoff spot. They've come back down to form. The Sabres,
as we all expected.
Yeah. But the Montreal Canadiens, the bold moves that Marc Bergevin did in the offseason is paying off. Max Domi looks amazing out there. Shea Weber looks back to form, because of his age. Paul Byron.
The crazy thing is about that team, though, everything is working out. Now, the question that will arise at all points during this season, will that be able to be... excuse me. Will they be able to sustain that throughout the entirety of the 82-game schedule and the playoffs?
It works for so long.
Exactly. It's like over half the season, and they found ways to win. Heck, they beat Boston in overtime in Boston, which the Leafs have not been able to do.
It wasn't Boston. Petrie with a massive...
Jeff Petrie with the OT winner.
He knocked it out of midair. But hey, Jeff Petrie's having an unbelievable year. So Montreal Canadiens, we don't really give you the benefit of the doubt on this podcast, but kudos to you. Honestly,
we were ripping Marc Bergevin in the offseason.
Now he's making us look stupid, and they're only 1 point behind the Leafs. Now let's talk about this Colorado Avalanche game.
Boy.
Because this had to be one of the worst games that I've seen this season.
Yeah.
Especially from, the whole team, but from 2 players. Nazem Kadri and Jake Gardiner. Now, you had your opinions about Jake Gardiner in your video, right? You said it was ridiculous how Leaf fans are booing him, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 or 6 years, ever since Jake Gardiner got traded for Francois Beauchemin with Joffrey Lupul, who has he played with defensively? Who is the right-handed shot to Jake Gardiner's left?
It's always been someone scrubby.
Exactly. Off the top of my head, I can think of, obviously, Nikita Zaitsev, Stefan Robida.
And that guy got injured.
Ryan O'Byrne, I think, was a right-handed shot that played with Gardiner.
You guys remember him? No, probably not. He was here for half a season.
He played with Dion Phaneuf maybe a little bit. Tim Gleason. Those aren't... Connor Carrick. Those aren't huge names. Those names aren't even NHLers besides Dion.
Look at the guy that Morgan Riley has in Ron Hainsey, a steady veteran who knows how to play defense. And look what Riley's able to do this year. Now, on that, where is it here? On that tying goal by Mikko Rantanen, I do want to give Riley a ton of garbage for it.
Right.
Because he assumed that Nazem Kadri was getting that puck out of the zone. So Riley's like, okay, I'm going to join the rush. And he bolts it out of his own zone. Instead, Rantanen just picked Kadri's pocket like it's kid's candy at a recess. And Riley looks stupid because he's at center ice when Rantanen's coming back one-on-one with whoever the heck, it might have been Ron Hainsey that's playing with him.
If we didn't have Jake Gardiner on this team, we would be looking completely different. Right. And I don't want us to boo Jake Gardiner out of town like we did to multiple defensemen. Larry Murphy is a perfect example.
Yeah.
After he left the Montreal Canadiens, he signed with us. Didn't play the greatest, but we knew what he was like. He was a Hall of Fame defenseman. He signed as a free agent here, I'm pretty sure. Or was he traded? Something like that. He was out of town his first year, and then he went to Detroit, and he looked amazing in Detroit. I think he won a Stanley Cup with Detroit.
Hall of Famer, too.
He was a Hall of Famer when he was with the Leafs, from Montreal, right? So I'm not saying Jake Gardiner's a Hall of Famer, but he does so much for this team. He has what, 24 points in 40-something games? Not like last year, but still damn good.
And you look at Jake Gardiner, and you look at, yes, I understand Leaf fans over the years. Jake Gardiner has frustrated a lot of people, including the -5 in Game 7 last year. Yeah. But because he makes one bad play in this game today, you boo him only?
Yeah.
That's the part that I don't get. Where's people booing that Kadri turnover? Where's people booing Riley and going out of the zone because he's assuming stuff's going to happen? Where's Mitch Marner's turnover at the blue line on the power play, which led to that Jake Gardiner blunder?
There was something, sorry to interrupt, there was something in the I think it was Minnesota where Matthews almost cost the Leafs the game. He did some crazy move that didn't even work, right? You don't see fans booing him because it's Austin Matthews. The Leaf fans have to pick one forward, which is Connor Brown, and one defenseman, which is Jake Gardiner, who they just rip on all the time, and I don't understand why.
I don't.
Like Brian McCabe, like Dion Phaneuf. Like, there's always that one defenseman. Look at perfect example, Brian McCabe. He was unbelievable with this team.
Yep.
Points-wise, goals-wise, he was by far, well, maybe not by far, but him and Copley were the best defensemen on the Leafs for, good 7 years?
A long time, yeah.
He scored on his own net once, and Leaf fans always give it to him. Always, right? And that kind of cost him that threw him out of town a little bit, right? So I think with Jake Gardiner, guys, I don't think he's going to be a Leaf next year. I really don't. I don't think that we're going to trade him.
I think this adds to that.
It does.
Being a thing.
And Kyle Dubas isn't stupid, right? So I don't think he's going to be a Leaf next year, but we need him for this cup run that we all want to be on. So let's stay positive. I get the Leafs are slumping. We were 5-5 in our last 10. Not the greatest, but at the same time, every team goes through this hard stretch. And listen, 5-5 is not horrible.
No.
It's not great, but it's not horrible. So that's all I have to say about that.
I guess the one positive you got to take from that game against Colorado is that Anderson was back. I mean, he wasn't good, but it's good to see him back, and he will find his form.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just hoping to God that's tonight against Tampa. Now, speaking of people who might not be a Leaf past this season, there's been some reports. I don't know if it was Chris Johnson or somebody along those lines that were saying that the Leafs would not be before it was the Leafs would not be opposed to moving their first round pick, which I mean it's a first rounder, so it's a big deal, but it's not going to be a high first round, so it's not
especially when we kept our last 2 first rounders that are still on the Marlies development.
Sandin and Liljegren as well.
Exactly.
But you look at and then the reports came out probably like a day or two later that the Leafs would not be opposed. Now I'm not saying if it's a quote or anything, but Kapanen and Andreas Janssen are guys that are movable. I don't disagree.
I completely agree with it. I get we love Cappy. I get we love Janssen and our first rounder. If you want help on the blue line, which we desperately need now, especially for a cup run, you need to give up these players for something like that, like Colton Parayko, Alex Pietrangelo. Someone, I get it's going to be a steep price. If you're the Leafs, you pay that price. I'm sorry, but now we've seen too many times in the playoffs our defense core is not good enough. I do not want to. If this year we get knocked out in the first round, it's a failure. It's a failure of a season.
Absolutely.
Last year was the last time I wanted to see the Leafs get bounced out in the first round.
Yep.
You had that taste of the playoffs against the Caps, right? And then against the Bruins, you're kind of familiar with it, and then you get bounced out again in the first round.
Now, if you want to try and grind out the positives of those 2 series, for one, you pushed a President's Trophy winning team in the Washington Capitals to 6 games, and then when it comes to the Bruins, you played them in 7.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to find the positives, I guess that's it. But like you said, you just faced Boston, you forced a Game 7. You can't go any farther than that other than the second round. So yes, anything less than a second round appearance is a failure.
Yeah, and you have to look at the talent on this team too, right? The forwards are stacked. The defense core, not the greatest. If you add that top 2 defensemen, I don't care what it costs. We have prospects on the Marlies. We have all this. Now I'm kind of off the thing, well, the Leafs are going to have to pay an arm and a leg. Do it! Do it if you pay an arm and a leg for a right-handed or just a defenseman in general, top 4, top 2, you're going to look so much better, right?
Look at the Tampa Bay Lightning last year acquiring Ryan McDonough. Yeah, did they have to trade away some guys? They got Ryan McDonough and JT Miller, didn't they?
Yeah, they got Ryan Miller. They got JT Miller and Ryan McDonough.
What was the trade?
I know it was definitely their first round pick. Brett Howden and I think someone else. But for those 2 guys, I mean, that's not a lot, but it is a pretty good amount if you just want to go up to the trade.
There it is there. Okay. Oh, God, there we go. I'm just trying to find that here. So they got Ryan McDonough and JT Miller, and what the Lightning sent to the Rangers was Nemestikov. And at that time, he was like a Kapanen or Janssen to them, right?
But now he's not the greatest, but he's still young.
But ideally,
enough.
you could also say that about Kapanen and Janssen. You put them on a team who's not as stacked
True.
offensively as the Leafs. Will they perform?
That is true.
They got the 2018 first-round pick and a conditional pick in 2019, which ended up being Libor Hajek, the defensive prospect, and forward Brett Howden.
Okay, so they gave up pretty much 2 first-rounders in Nemesnikov, in Howden, and this Hajek
Libor
guy.
Hajek, yeah.
Oh, see,
And a second-round pick.
And, and a second. Yeah, dude.
But JT Miller's good. Like, he's very good. And Ryan McDonough, he was the captain.
We don't need a JT Miller, so without JT Miller, you're looking at a first and a blue-chip prospect.
Either Kapanen or Janssen.
Exactly. Brett Howden and a second. So, like you say, a first and Janssen or Kapanen.
Right.
For someone hopefully from St. Louis, right?
You and I have been really talking about that team for a reason. For quite a few reasons, actually. For one, the St. Louis Blues are not a very good team. They are, where are they here? They're only 4 points out of a playoff spot, actually.
Yeah,
they're 500 at 20-20-5, but they're 5-4 in their last 10. They're nothing really special. And you and I have talked about 2 players, and you already mentioned those 2 names a little bit earlier on. Alex Pietrangelo was one, and Colton Parayko was the other one.
Now, with those 2 players, you're getting Parayko for 4 years. 3 more years after this deal.
I think so, yeah.
And then you're getting Pietrangelo for 1 more, a year and a half.
Basically.
This year and then next year. You can argue Pietrangelo is the better defenseman. I think he is, but they're not far off. You're going to have to re-sign Pietrangelo, obviously, but I think the Leafs could do it.
He's already making 6.5. And if you find a way to move a guy like Nikita Zaitsev,
I think he'll be attached somehow. And
they're going to try and attach a prospect to that.
And even if we retain half Nikita Zaitsev, I'm fine with that. At this point,
you'd be okay with retaining $2.5 million in Nikita Zaitsev contract?
Yeah. Just to get him, it's better than buying him out, honestly. And I get we still have Phil Kessel's contract. We still have this. But we have so many good players on the Leafs right now with great contracts. Freddie Anderson's one. Kadri's another one. And Riley. Especially Riley.
Yep.
Riley is probably could be making double what he's making now.
Yeah.
10 mil. He's making 5. That's fine for me. So I wouldn't mind of paying Pietrangelo 8 mil. Yeah. 7.5, 8 mil, right?
And for me, Colton Parayko, his contract is juicy. The fact that it's lower than Pietrangelo. The fact is that it's for a longer term, and he's younger.
See, with that, I can't see St. Louis trading him because they just re-signed him. That's the thing. I mean, if the price is right, who knows?
Yeah.
But I think for St. Louis, they would probably rather give up Pietrangelo than Parayko because they re-signed Parayko just, 2 years ago or last year?
Yeah.
And obviously, they wouldn't want to give him up right away. Mind you, if the package is right, like I've been saying, who knows? But we just need some help on this blue line. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I'm off the Zaitsev train. Ron Hainsey's looked slow. And I don't want to bring up Calle Rosen's. Sure, he's been looking great for the Marlies, but he's not going to make a change to the blue line.
Can we please not acquire some seventh defensemen at the trade deadline and that's it, please? I think we're all tired of that kind of stuff. Yeah. You know, who have they acquired in the past?
In the past, they acquired Brian Boyle for a second. And
Thomas Buchanan.
Both of them didn't really work out.
Both are centers.
Well, mind you, center depth was a problem last year and the year before. Now, Par Lindholm has looked okay.
He's actually on the wing now. They have Frederick Gauthier.
Frederick Gauthier has looked pretty good. But that's sorted out. Now it's time for Dubas to drop the bomb and get a defenseman. I don't care how much you pay, right? I mean, don't give up both prospects. Don't give up Sandin or Liljegren.
Yeah,
but
I do believe with guys like Sandin and Liljegren, those two guys, I still don't know what Liljegren has.
Yeah, Liljegren especially. I mean, Sandin.
He's injured. He didn't go to the World Juniors because he's injured. But
actually, I saw this. He's going to do a conditioning stint for the ECHL. Not a bad option, I guess.
For Liljegren?
So he's going to be sent down to San Jose, or Orlando, I guess. And I think that's a smart move by Dubas because you don't want to send him right back to the Marlies after he was out a month. or a
He
month and a
was
half.
out quite some time. Yeah,
He missed the World Juniors. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who is this? Rasmus Sandin you're showing me?
10 points in 18 games, 5 goals, 5 assists.
We have guys who can come up. Enough with the first rounders and then developing them. We already have that. Trade your first rounder. It's going to be a high 20s pick.
Yeah.
Trade it to a team that can use it. Like St. Louis doesn't have their first this year. They traded it to Buffalo.
Right.
I think it's lottery protected, but
Still,
they need one. So them, Carolina's always out there. I'm not too sure about Dougie Hamilton.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the Marlies roster, and I don't know if you knew this, but the Marlies have Tom Cicito.
Really? I did not know that.
There he is.
Yeah, that was the guy who injured Anderson
In game 81 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah, that's him.
Good grit.
I guess so.
How many players would the Leafs need to be injured for him to be called up? At least 15 or 20.
Most of the roster, to be honest. But
if he's playing with Austin Matthews, he could score 20 goals. Not joking.
I don't know about that. He's got to stand in front of the net and get a tip in or something.
Yeah. So I think we're done with the Leafs. We talked about we were preaching. Now let's move on to who else? The Edmonton Oilers. And this is a trade that leaked out on TSN.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't. Okay. We all know Broad Street Bull.
Oh, you and
Sam.
Yeah, on Twitter. For
on Twitter,
Flyers. Yeah.
At Broad Street Bull. He tweeted something being like, "Oh, at TSN, you just deleted this tweet," and it was Wayne Simmons to the Oilers for Jesse Puljujarvi and Cam Talbot. Not bad, but you saw the screenshot that Sam took. It was blatantly photoshopped, but he didn't realize it.
That's typical Philadelphia Flyers stuff. I mean, my God, the way that
I feel
team
bad
is.
for that guy because he's old and like old people don't really know about photoshopping, blah, whatever. But it doesn't even.
Let me pick that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
pick that up because I saw that, and then Bob McKenzie tweeted right at him. We have no recollection of us tweeting this at all. We talked to whatever the Twitter people running the TS,
Sam what?
just at Broad Street Bowl.
Okay, Broad.
Because we have a friend that's a Philly fan, so we're kind of we know of Broad Street Bull. No, go to just media because
okay, I already sent the picture.
Yeah, I mean maybe he deleted it.
When was this?
A couple days ago.
There it is. Here's a TSN post from today. Apparently, it was taken down a few minutes later. That's awful, man.
It doesn't. It looks like it's washed out too.
Yeah, what is this? And it's like a screenshot from his phone.
Well, he screenshotted it.
But no, he screenshotted the picture from his phone.
He screenshotted the screenshot.
Yeah, basically. And he left the whole photo and done thing on the corner.
See, what makes this believable is that's not a bad trade for either team. Philly needs goaltending, and they could use maybe a young winger, and Edmonton needs wingers, established ones. So I just found that funny. I feel bad for him because there was people chirping him about it.
Well, then don't do that then.
Well, like I said before, he's older guy.
You said Bob McKenzie replied to him?
Yeah, he did.
I'm going to try and find that here.
Saying that we have no recollection of any of our media people tweeting this out. Yeah.
Sam, as near as I can tell, you got duped by a fabricated screen cap as in screenshot, that never existed on our website.
That's funny. He's being so nice about it because Bob McKenzie doesn't want other people spreading rumors about TSN.
And everyone's messaged back. It's so poorly edited. This is the worst worst Photoshop duping I've ever seen. Yeah. Some of the tweetbacks are quite funny, actually.
No, they are.
You don't do that.
You don't do that, but like I said before, you kind of got to really read into it. It doesn't even look good.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, if you don't see it, don't try and be fancy about it. Don't just don't try. Now, so the last thing we want to say about the Leafs. Okay, we haven't really previewed tonight's matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
And do you want to do the next few games?
Quickly? We'll do maybe the Tampa game because there's a bit more to talk about around the Leafs. So let's just do the Tampa game. Huge game. Playing in Tampa Bay. Obviously Freddie's starting. Everyone's healthy. I don't know. Again, I don't have a good feeling about this game.
I don't either. I really don't. This team has not played well. Freddie still is not back to his regular season form yet. And Tampa clearly is. That team is the hottest team in the National Hockey League. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're 36-9.
They're bound to break a record.
They almost have 40 wins, and we're not even at the All-Star break.
They almost have 70 points.
Do they have 70 yet?
Here, check the standings.
I'm actually going to check if they do have 70 yet. Because the Leafs, they have 74. They have 74 points in 47 games.
And then the next, I go to overall. The next one's Calgary, who has 65. Well, Calgary's
They're 9 points behind them, with Tampa having a game in hand as well.
So, last topic of hockey. Let's talk about the Anaheim Ducks.
Do you want to say what your expectations are for these games?
Expectation, I think the Leafs are going to lose. How about you?
I do agree with you.
I think the Leafs need to go on an unbelievable losing streak. I don't want it to happen, but for Kyle Dubas to make a move.
Yeah. And then the next day, tomorrow, Florida in Florida, and Garrett Sparks is probably going to get that start. So what do you think?
I mean,
do you think this is Garrett Sparks make it or break it, or do you think Hutchinson's going to get a call after, or what do you think?
It all depends on how we do against Tampa. Listen, if we lose massively against Tampa, I don't know. It all depends on the Tampa Bay game, and yeah, Arizona is
on Sunday. The Leafs don't play this Saturday.
It's weird. When that's a winnable game. I mean,
at home, and they are 21-22. They've been playing. They're over 500 hockey over the last 10 games, but the Leafs should win that.
They should win that.
2 of those 3 they should win.
All right, so back to the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, let's go back
Losers of 12 straight, or it's at 13 now.
Let me just check here. They're probably near the bottom of the league, so they're not actually near the bottom of the league. What the hell? They've lost 12 straight games. They're 0-6-4 in their last 10 games.
They lost 12. Now, reports said that the GM, Bob Murray?
Something like that. Bill Murray?
The president, Bill Murray? No, not the actor.
Oh, he's pretty good, though. I like Bill Murray.
Oh, yeah, he's still alive.
And the Pink Panther.
And from Ghostbusters.
Oh,
but anyways, saying that they're not firing Randy Carlyle. We us Leaf fans know Randy Carlyle hockey.
You've lost 12 straight games.
This dude is notorious for switching up lines every game. Doesn't matter. I remember when Phil Kessel was flip-flopping from the first line. Everybody was all over the place.
The definition of Randy Carlyle is called lineup juggling.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. All the time. Yeah. Somebody doesn't score a goal this game. They're off that line. You know? Andreas Johnson scores a couple goals. He's up with Matthews.
Yeah, and then...
When Matthews doesn't score for a few games, fourth line. I mean, it was all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his time... Listen, if any coach is losing 12 straight, I think that's an issue. They're an older team. Getzlav, they have massive contracts on that team. They just put Ryan Kessler back on IR. Corey Perry's out, for another month? He was out 6 months in October.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. They're just an oldish, sluggish team. And they actually made a trade today with the Vancouver Canucks sending Luke Shen for Michael Del Zotto in high draft picks, a 7th and a 4th.
Leaf fans, we got JVR for Luke Shen. Remember that? Good times.
Good times. Now, reports saying that the Red Wings want a first-round pick for Nyquist and Howard.
Combined?
No.
Or each?
Not each.
I would assume it would be each, because both players are...
That's not an absurd...
For each player, yeah.
That's not an absurd, because both players are having a good year.
But who's a guy that would want, Jimmy Howard?
Flyers.
I think they would love anybody in net other than James Reimer and Roberto Lowe. Or not James Reimer, I'm thinking Florida. Anything. Look, they have a goalie carousel over there in Philly.
Yeah, right? So let's just stay with Detroit. Nyquist, I wouldn't be opposed to getting up first. Well, not for the Leafs, obviously, but for teams in general.
Yeah. Right?
Howard, not too sure, but he is having a good year, so not over asking, really. Yeah, I mean, nothing.
Del Zotto for the Ducks for Luke Shen and a 7th. So you forgot the 7th round pick.
Well, I said higher draft picks.
Wow. You hear that? Blue Jackets and Penguins are holding Derek Brassard.
Wow. He's going to go back to Columbus.
Wasn't he with
the
Rangers?
No. He was drafted by Columbus, and then he went to the Rangers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
What
do you think about that? Because Columbus is a team that's in a really odd situation. Obviously, with Bobrovsky and Panarin's contracts at the end of the year coming up, and having no source of
especially Sergei Bobrovsky, how he's openly said, well, not openly said, but it seems like he's extremely fed up with the organization.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's definitely an opportunity, mind you. the Pittsburgh Penguins, didn't they pay a first rounder, I think, or something like that, because he was originally on Vegas, or no, he was on the Rangers, Brassard, and then he got traded to Vegas for like a couple hours, and then he got flipped
at
to
the draft.
I think
there.
Pittsburgh definitely paid a first or
it was something like that. But and the fact that he's going to be gone, wasn't he with Ottawa though?
Oh my God, that would have. Yeah, you know what?
Derek Brassard was with
yeah,
Ottawa.
he was with Ottawa. It was. Oh, I don't think that they gave Ottawa first though.
No, Ottawa's in shambles right now. I mean, I don't know what the hell that team.
Well, no, that has nothing to do with it. But
no, I know.
Weird though. Yeah. So I mean, Nathan Bull, you were looking for a trade out of Buffalo if Roll doesn't increase. Well, bud, how many points does Nathan Bull you have this year? If it's over 20.
Well, probably not. He's only played 26 games. He's got 7 points.
Yeah.
He's got 30 penalty minutes in 26 games. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't even know why we would bring that up.
Well, because, I mean, he's a defenseman, and Leaf fans, I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't want Nathan Beaulieu. Now, moving on to the Raptors. Basketball lost a heartbreaker last night against the Boston Celtics.
But you know what?
Another Boston team beating Toronto team.
It's so annoying.
Was there any Boston fans on your
I
video?
actually haven't really checked today, to be honest. But what I'm not so worried about, I don't know, I'm just not really worried about the Raptors right now.
No, me neither.
Because I'm looking at the way they lost the last 2 games against the Celtics. It took Kyrie Irving getting 27 points and 18 assists to beat the Raptors last night. The Raptors do not have Jonas Valanciunas, who's a very prolific bench guy, and their bench unit crushed our one. So
surprisingly,
and OG Anunoby did not play as well.
I'm nervous because if they can do this to us in the regular season, I think they can do this to us in the playoffs.
Honestly, I don't think so.
You don't.
The reason I don't look at this game as really anything is because the Raptors lost. Yes, it was by 9, but that 9 was all in the last couple minutes. And yes, that shouldn't really be happening if you're a top-notch team, but it did. It was a tight game for most of the game. The Raptors at one point in the second quarter were down 16.
So you're not concerned about if because we all know Boston in the playoffs, they up their game.
Now, the thing I am worried about with the Toronto Raptors, I am worried about that three-point shooting. That is one thing that I think will be consistent, and it's things that scare me like crazy.
We've been preaching about it for Nick Nurse to get a sharpshooter. Trade deadline is around the same time as hockey, I would think. I'm nervous about Boston in the playoffs because we saw they took LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games. They lost, but they beat Philly. They whopped Philly. I don't even know who they played in the first round. I don't know. I think that Kyrie Irving in the playoffs is scary, and Gordon Hayward in the playoffs is scary.
We have not seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs yet.
True. That is a good point.
And he pretty much took it over last night and got this team back into it.
But
now, the reason I'm not worried is because, like I said, Boston is a team that cannot play on the road. They physically are horrendous on the road. I'm going to show you this right here. I don't know if you know. They're 16-5 at home. One of the best teams in the league. Look at their road record. 10-13. They are terrible on the road. And I don't care. Well, they're going through a tough stretch. I don't want to hear that crap.
No, but look at Philly, 10-12. They're not the greatest either.
Exactly.
Personally, I thought it was going to be worse than that.
But the problem with the Celtics right now, they're in 5th. Where would that first round matchup be? The home court advantage. It would be on the road.
But playoffs are so much more different than regular season. Listen, I know you're trying to fizzle out Boston and say, "Oh, they're not a problem."
They're a good team. They shoot the ball very well. Except on the road, I feel like one person is trying to do it all. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
and they just look. You can't sit here and tell me that this team is okay because they can't go into. Look, where are we here? Where's the Raptor game? December, January. There it is. They lost to Brooklyn in Brooklyn, Orlando in Orlando, and Miami in Miami. And they win against Brooklyn, Indiana, Dallas, Minnesota. You know what the common denominator was with all those? They're all at home. Then they go on the road to San Antonio. They lose that. They beat Memphis on the road. Well, that's not really a tough task. Then you lose to Houston on the road. They have won one road game out of their last 6.
No, it's definitely an issue with this team.
And they're not against good teams.
No, they're not. And in that Orlando game, I think you're over for that, and you kind of showed me the score. I'm like, oh my God. I'm not concerned because we know this team is making the playoffs because how top-heavy the East is. What's their record?
Who, the Raptors?
No, the Celtics.
26-18.
They're making the playoffs.
Well, of course they're going to make the playoffs.
They're making the playoffs, but as a 5th seed, they're going to be facing
Philly right out of
on
the
the
gate.
road.
Exactly.
On the road.
That's why I'm like, look, if I'm the Raptors and I can find a way to stay in the top 2 And find a way. If that stays the same and Philly's 4 and Boston's 5, I would love it. You know why? Because they're going to beat themselves up and one of those teams will be eliminated. And then Indiana will play, well, as of right now, it's Miami. And that's a lot different, if the Raptors can find a way to avoid those teams.
But our record against the Celtics this year isn't good.
It's 1-2. You've lost both games on the road. But like I was trying to say, you lost by 9 yesterday. But it was really a tight game the entire game. And the other game you lost to Boston, you lost in overtime.
Oh, yes.
And Kyrie Irving could not miss a shot. He scored his career high in points. You expect him to do that every single night? No. You don't.
Well, you don't, but then you expect other players to step up in the playoffs. Terry Rozier.
Well, you expect it.
I still think Gordon Hayward in the playoffs is going to be an absolute monster.
I'm not saying they're not a bad team. They're not a good team. Except when they came to Toronto, the Raptors crushed them.
Yeah.
They throttled them. That's why I'm not worried. Because right now, if we played Boston, we'd have home court.
And then, knowing our luck, we would lose in Game 7 because that's what happens with Toronto and Boston teams. Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Knock on wood.
Oh my god.
But again, it was a heartbreaking loss for the Toronto Raptors. We got to regroup.
And in the end, it's a middle of January game that nothing cares. Nobody's going to care about in a month's time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. Now that Washington Wizards game, that was unbelievable. That was a great game.
Wow. Yeah.
Double OT or OT?
Double
OT.
And the fact that the Raptors were up by 14 going into the fourth quarter and blew it. That's the part that scares me. And the fact that for the first overtime and a half, Kawhi Leonard is the only guy who scored points. That scares me. That scares me.
It scares me because because we all know Kyle Lowry in the playoffs, not the greatest.
And even in that Boston game, took
not
some
the
stupid
greatest
shots.
Other than him, who would be performing in the playoffs?
Well,
kind of coming off.
We could really focus in right what you just said on Bradley Beal.
Yeah, that's again, it's a name, but his trade value is going up and up. He's playing unbelievable. Without John Wall, he's playing great. Yep. I would love him. He's great. He's a pretty good 3-point shooter, isn't he?
He's a fantastic player. Period. I don't know defensively. I'm not too sure about him, but what he gives you in the offense, I think, just totally evaporates that whole feel. What they were asking for, I think the asking price was Siakam, OG, and a first, which is that's a lot. I mean, OG, look, he has that feel of he can break out at any point. However, we haven't seen it, which still scares me.
Yeah.
And Pascal Siakam, come on.
No.
Look, most improved player. He's averaging over 15 a game this year.
Skills with a little bit of that hot sauce. No, thank you.
Sprinkle that spice on top. But I mean, he's going to continue to grow. And Siakam looks fantastic. And you're giving up a first. Now, the first round pick will be late, obviously, but
that's for next year because we don't even have our first for this year.
Exactly. You're continuously not having draft picks.
And is Bradley Beal's contract, what's that looking like?
Well, I'm going to look that up right now.
Look, yeah. Wouldn't be, like I've said many times on this podcast, would love Bradley Beal. Would love it. It showed in that Boston game, our 3-point shot isn't even close to where it needs to be. You look at the Boston Celtics. They have Kyrie Irving. They have Terry Rozier. They have Gordon Hayward. I know Gordon Hayward's not performing as well this year. Those are 3 superstars. The Raptors, Kawhi, and Lowry. We don't have that third guy.
Right. And so for Bradley Beal, you have him for this year. You have him for next year. And you have him for the year after that. And then in 2021, that offseason, he is a free agent.
So that
at 28 years old.
So right now he's 25. So he'd be 28 when the contract's done.
Correct.
That would be something anybody other than Pascal. I would be okay with giving up OG in a first.
To be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to giving up Fred VanVleet either.
That's kind of a big gap between Fred VanVleet and Pascal.
It is.
But I know what you're saying. And just knowing that he'll be traded to the East, I don't think Washington would do that. Man, because like I said before, teams have those 3 big stars, right? Other than maybe Indiana and Milwaukee. You look at Philly and you look at Boston.
You throw a guy like Bradley Beal into this, I mean, look.
But then again,
Lowry has another guy to pass to, which means he doesn't have to score at all, which he hasn't been great at. So he has more guys to fire the ball to. Kawhi Leonard, we know we've now learned what this guy can do. And watching him yesterday, My God.
It was
watching Boston make a little run and him come down the floor and smack down a three, and watching him bulldozer through two guys and get an and one on the next play. The problem with that was they followed it up with a three of their own and an and one of their own. So Kawhi's trying to do everything he can, but no one else is helping him around.
Because we don't have enough superstars on this superstar-driven league.
So you'd have Lowry be able to pass the ball to everybody. You have Kawhi Leonard, who's arguably one of the best in the NBA. And then you have Bradley Beal, who is an amazing scorer, and you'd replace him with Danny Green. You put Danny Green on that bench. Not only does that help them defensively, but it helps their three-point shooting.
If Danny Green isn't in the trade.
Yes.
Because right now, you might want to settle high on Danny Green. I completely agree with everything you said, because...
And then with Skills and Ibaka, which would be pretty damn nice as a starting unit.
Because the difference between... You can say what you want about LeBron, but that's one player where he doesn't really need anyone else with him.
No, he doesn't. Look, that Lakers team without him has been horrendous. They won their last game, but they haven't been good. They're now out of a playoff spot because Utah's been playing better, as we expected.
Yeah.
But you look at Cleveland last year. I mean, they didn't have anything. They were sliding like crazy. They ended up fifth or fourth. They were fifth, wasn't they? They played Indiana.
We haven't seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs, and you mentioned that, but I have a bad feeling if a 7-game series with Boston, you just look at everyone on the team. Tatum, Jason Tatum, I completely forgot about him. Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, like I've been mentioning, he's going to step up in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving.
Morris can get hot.
Other than Kawhi, Siak, who's the Raptors' top 3 players? Leonard and Kyle Lowry are number 1 and 2. Who's the third? Pascal?
Probably. Or Serge.
I love Pascal, but you really, come on, compare the teams. Compare. We need another superstar if we want to. We're going to have to face Boston in the playoffs.
Because if you find a way to get a guy like Bradley Beal and you trade away some money, and I think that's the part that I'm scared about, because you want to be able to re-sign Kawhi. You get him back, and you have, Bradley Beal and Kawhi locked up for years.
Well, right now we have enough money to sign Kawhi because we got rid of DeRozan.
Right now you do, agreed. But you bring in a guy like Bradley Beal who's making quite a bit of dough. He's making $25 million, $27, then $28 million. He's making quite a bit of money.
So you're trying to say that if we sign...
Now, the question then portrays, what about a guy like Jonas Valanciunas? I know he's such a good player for the bench, and I know all that kind of stuff. He's a big
starting center.
Well, he's not anymore.
Well,
Ibaka's the starting center
No, because he's injured. But when he's healthy, he's in the starting lineup.
Not really. It's a matchup driven for the most part. But
matchup driven, but if you were to pick one player, I think we would both agree, both healthy, it would be
Serge Ibaka.
At the center.
Yeah, look at what Serge has done this year.
And then you would put Pascal at the 4.
That's what he's been all year.
I guess, but like you said, it's a matchup driven league.
And honestly, God, and I know you're gonna laugh when I say this. Greg Monroe hasn't been bad.
No, I know.
I
wouldn't laugh at that.
Last night he, look, he was playing up against, I think it was Aaron Baines. Isn't he from like New Zealand or something?
Washington State.
No, birthplace Gisborne. I don't know where that is. Could be Australia. It could be New Zealand. Anyways.
Really pull.
And then you throw up Greg Monroe. 15 minutes, 11 points, 9 rebounds in 15 minutes of work.
That's great. If you play Greg Monroe, whatever. If you play him, he can produce. He's not a starting center.
No, he's not. But he's a guy that can come off the bench. But the problem is, with Jonas Valanciunas, he's making a lot of money. And
so what you're trying to say here is if we do acquire Beal, you'd be worried if we have enough money to sign Kawhi.
Agreed.
Because we have, yeah.
I don't know I don't know what max contract looks like, but I know if Bradley Beal is making 25, 27, 28 million over the next 3 years, you're going to give Kawhi a max contract if you have the money.
A max deal is around 160 mil for over like 4 years.
Okay.
So do the math. So what's that, like 40 mil a year?
So he's only making 70 something if you do that, or no, over the 4 years, over what is that, 5 year span? He's making, I think, about 100. I think it is over 100, but not.
I'm talking about Kawhi though.
Oh, okay. With Kawhi,
that's a max deal.
You got to give it to him. But the problem is, then you run into the problem. Kyle Lowry's making a garbage amount of money. Yeah. So what do? So is Serge Ibaka.
You can't trade Lowry to the Wizards.
No.
You can't acquire Beal for Lowry. I don't think it's going to happen just to do with the fact that we have to sign this massive superstar on this team in Kawhi Leonard. We already have an absurd amount of dollars for Lowry, and
Then
you're throwing in Beal.
Jonas Valanciunas then is a guy that's making a lot of money, and if for the most part this year he's on a bench role.
So would you be okay? Would you be okay with our first OG and JV for Beal, and then your starting lineup would be Serge,
Pascal, Kawhi, Beal, and Lowry? Yes, please.
And then backing up Serge would be Greg Monroe.
He's done a great job right now.
Yeah.
Right? He can't shoot the three, but he's not there to shoot the threes. He's there to grab rebounds. He's
won't-
there to get grimy points, and that's what he's been doing.
I guess the one big guy that could shoot threes would be Pascal.
And even Chris Boucher, if you want to try and push him in there, but I haven't really seen a whole lot. And with JV, I didn't realize this actually. After next year, it's his final season out of his contract.
So he has 2 more years.
So this season and next year, and he's a free agent.
So a year and a half. Yeah, okay.
Now, I guess you wouldn't have to worry about Bradley Beal's contract then because JV's would be off the books. However...
And with the Wizards needing a big man, Dwight Howard's... He's not even playing.
Right.
Marcin Gortat, I don't even know if he's still with the team.
No, he's not there anymore.
He's gone.
I think he's with the Lakers, isn't he, or something like that?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Actually, that's what Bradley Beal signed for. 5 years at 127.
Bird.
No, bird rights. God damn it, dude.
Tweet.
Tweety.
We could talk about this all we want, but...
Look, for me personally, and like you said, if this team really wants to make that push, you got to make a deal. And I think the only guy available that everyone's talking about, Bradley Beal.
See, agreed.
That you can afford doing.
The one thing where Raptors management might be like, hold your horses here, is because we've never seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs with this Raptors team. We've never seen Nick Nurse.
It might be the only time you see it.
We've never seen Nick Nurse in the playoffs with this team. And yes, that is true. I think, honestly, this might be the only time we see Kawhi Leonard in a Raptors jersey in the playoffs. Think about it, Raptors management. We're not playing bad right now, but I think with that extra boost and that 3-point shot and getting Bradley Beal on this team for future assets, that, I mean, it would suck giving up OG.
Because after that, what was that? After the Bradley Beal trade, if you do find a way to make it through, you make some sprinkled moves afterwards. Cleveland, a terrible team. Go for a guy like Rodney Hood, a guy who can come off the bench and chuck up threes.
Well, Rodney Hood, you might have to give up a first for, but I know what you mean. Get supporting
somebody
pieces.
like that, a guy who can shoot the three off the bench.
Trade CJ Miles for, I don't know, a Cal Korver or something like that.
Good luck with that.
I'm just saying, just get depth guys and maybe bring up guys from the D League. Is Orlando Brown still with the team?
No, he's gone now. They released him.
Did they?
Yeah, right. Just released Lorenzo Brown. That's why they signed Patrick McCaw, former Golden State Warrior. But I'm trying to find these teams and trying to look at guys. I mean, do you look at a guy like Vince Carter as a guy you try and get at the buyout time?
What's he going to do? He can't shoot. He can barely dunk. It's just for the fact that, he was a Raptor. Good for him.
I know, honestly, that's really all people are going off of. I mean, I don't know. We could sit here all day and try and speculate about who you want to go after, but...
Well, right now, it's Bradley Beal, and I think a supporting cast would be okay, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, the Lakers are probably going to give up a lot. The package is going to be better from what the Lakers are going to be offering than for us, 100%.
Oh, probably.
But are the Lakers ready to make a big push?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But... It's gonna be definitely interesting to see what Nick Nurse is gonna be doing. And well, also, it's not him doing the trades. It's Webster.
Yeah,
Webster doing. I don't even know his first name.
Martell Webster.
That was a basketball player.
Oh yeah, that's why.
NBA 2K13.
Bobby Webster. That's his name.
Martell Webster. Bobby Webster. What he's gonna be doing? I don't know how long he was GM for with the team.
Do you maybe look to try and get a Terrence Ross back? He's having one heck of a season. He's almost averaging 14 a game. He's shooting 39% from three.
For someone lower, again, I don't think we can get him and Beal, but if we don't get Beal, which I don't think we will be getting, that's a player. If we don't get Bradley Beal, please get a sharpshooter.
They need something. Look, last year, I understood why the Raptors thought they were that good and be able to go into the playoffs not making any moves because of the fact that they... washroom break, get going.
I gotta go relieve myself.
But... you look at the way they were last year, and the way the bench mob was, you felt like they were something different, right? And the Raptors were obviously first in the Eastern Conference, and we're like, well, we've never seen this before, and they're on the next level. You wanted to see that through. They didn't try and make any moves to change the bench because it was that good last season. So they didn't. And ideally, it didn't really get us anywhere. It got us to a second-round exit from LeBron James, which has become a theme over the years. Obviously, it's not going to happen as of right now. But you don't want to let that happen again. Yeah, the Raptors are tied for first with Milwaukee in the East. We have one more loss. They have one less win, so they think they've played 2 less games. But for the Raptors, you can't just sit back and let this team go as, they're 33-13, they're a damn good team. Let's just ride to the playoffs with this really good team. I'm done with trying to let this team just go into the playoffs having not making any additions. They gotta find something. Last year at the buyout deadline, they did nothing. Philly acquired a Marco Bellinelli. Guys like that. Guys who can shoot the 3. The Raptors did nothing. They have to do something this year at the trade deadline and even the buyout deadline.
I think the last time the Raptors did something was when we acquired Serge and PJ Tucker.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. And
so that was 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, last year we didn't do anything because we thought that this is the team. We're good to go. The bench mob was the bench mob. Not so much this year, but last year.
Well, that's the thing. The problem has been the bench this year.
Well,
this is where I'm sitting here and saying, look, a guy like DeLon Wright is expendable. He's a good player. He's not a bad player, but he's expendable.
Because you know why the bench has been doing bad is because the people from the bench last year graduated to the starting lineup.
Yeah, Siakam is there. Pirtle's gone, right?
Yeah.
So those are 2 big. Ideally, those were your 2 big men last year on the bench. You don't have that now.
No.
And you have a guy like Greg Monroe and who's the backup power forward?
Like that Boucher guy you're talking about?
No, I'm trying to even think about that. What the hell? Who is that?
Isn't it Chris Boucher or is he a center?
OG, I guess you could say, is possibly who's the backup small forward. I don't even know. Honest to God, that's the problem. Yeah. You don't have anything on the bench. So if I would not be opposed. The first round pick I wouldn't be opposed to giving up if you're getting a guy like Bradley Beal because he has term and he's that good.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to subtract from the bench too much. However, how else are you going to win?
We haven't seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. We haven't seen Nick Nurse in the playoffs. But then again, Kawhi Leonard is a free agent after this year. We want to get him help. I think he needs a bit of help.
He does. He definitely does. Bringing a guy like Bradley Beal is unbelievable. Did Washington play another game? I'm assuming they've played another game since we beat them in overtime. Because I just want to see how he did in that game and see if he's absolutely still. Oh, they actually haven't played since then. But you look at Bradley Beal's numbers, and he had a triple double against the Raptors, 43, 10, and 13, which is ridiculous. He's averaging almost 25 a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's shooting 47%. Yeah, 35% from 3. Not very good. However, he's still Bradley Beal.
Bottom line is
25 years old as well.
Bottom line is, we would love him, but the package is going to be immense. Now, moving to the league here, James Harden has been on an absolute tear.
Back-to-back 50-point games.
When was the last person? I don't think anyone's done that ever.
Well, they probably have. I mean, if it was a long time ago. What's James Harden averaging this year? I mean, it must be
it's
something.
over 30.
Well, no way. He's averaging 35 a game and 8.5 assists and 6 MVP. We can call it right now.
Yeah.
The guy's unbelievable.
He was my dark horse. Well, not dark horse, but he was a guy that you talked about, but you weren't really expecting him to win MVP. Now, he can score at immense rates.
He had 58 yesterday against Brooklyn and lost.
To the Brooklyn Nets.
58 and lost.
Yeah, wow.
And Memphis the day before. Look at the minutes played, too. He played 45 minutes against Brooklyn and had 58 points. He played 34 minutes against Memphis and had 57.
And this is all without CP3 and Clint Capella. MVP.
Well, I mean, ideally, he's the only scoring option at that point, but still.
Well, no, still. He has zero help on this team. The only help he has is probably Eric Gordon.
How's he been this year? I haven't heard much about him at all. I knew he was great last season. How is he still this? Well, his shooting percentage is down hard.
But other than that, they still have Melo. Is he? No.
What? I thought they released him.
I thought so too. He's probably not playing. Yeah, last game November 8th. He's still on the roster though, which is weird. Yeah, I mean he has no help at all. I said Durant. I could be wrong, but there's a lot more months.
I think right now it's James Harden.
We just got to shout him out on the pod.
You have to.
You listening, James?
Yeah, I'm listening. What?
Harden.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, come on. Yeah, well, DeMarcus Cousins, whatever. He's going to attempt to make a debut in a few weeks.
People says that he looks like a woman.
What?
Not I I saw that online of that people are comparing his like face to like a woman's face. Maybe not.
I don't know what we're getting.
Maybe he has a small head a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, no, I do not agree with that. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like a woman. What are you talking about?
It wasn't me. It was people online.
Okay, well, just calm down.
What?
Anyways. So I mean, was there anything else to talk about?
Was that LeVar Ball?
Oh God, I don't want to read about him. What is he going to say here? So his brand charges the media $3,500 to film. Oh my God, so I can't even.
To charge his son.
Do you want to talk about Steph Curry and how at his age, he's not even 30 yet, is he? I'm actually going to check that out.
He's probably is 30 exactly, I would think. Maybe like 29.
He's 30.
Okay.
He is second all time in 3-point made.
Oh, who's first? Is that Larry?
No. I'm going to see that right here, actually, because I know it's going to be here. I'm just going to find that here.
Yeah, that's quite... I mean, it's not really shocking because he's been around the league for, what, 6-7 years now?
Yeah.
Or actually probably longer than that. And I personally think he's the best 3-point shooter in history. He's better than Larry Bird. He's better... I'm just trying to think. He's better than, I guess Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Any immense 3-point shooters? Maybe Rick Barry?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. I mean, so yeah, he.
Oh, Reggie Miller.
I don't know if he passed Reggie. No, I think he passed. No, he passed Jason Terry. So he is third all time. Ray Allen is number one. Ray Allen, then Reggie Miller, and then Steph Curry at only 30 years of age is 700 threes away from Ray Allen.
Now, being clutch, I think that needs to go to Ray Allen because when he was with the Heat,
Steph Curry was also very clutch too.
It's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets first by a long shot because this guy's going to play until he's like 37.
And also, something we can't get unnoticed, fifth place on that list, Kyle Korver. Huh. Actually, no, I think it's fourth now. I think he passed Jason Terry. He's only 2
Vince is actually what?
I mean, the guy's played for
still
a ton of years. The same as Kyle Korver. That's why it's so incredible to see Steph Curry at that age. Consider the other guys,
crazy.
Right? Carter, Paul Pierce, Jamal Crawford, Kyle Korver, Jason Terry. All those guys played to their, 38, 40?
Yeah.
And he's passed all those guys.
Well, he was 30. Looked at the... No, I wonder where Larry Bird is. He's not even...
Yeah, I don't know if they...
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually very intrigued to see where that is here. If I can
That's very interesting. But yeah, the dude's going to play like 7-8 more years, right? I would think with this Golden State Warriors
He's not even
team.
In the top 20. It's Larry Bird.
Well, Larry Bird was premature. I think he retired at like 32 because of back issues.
Right.
He got drafted in, I think, was it the late 70s?
How is CJ Miles 63rd all time? That's weird.
Okay, we're just going through the list here.
Right, I'm just trying to find Larry Bird.
Huh. Not there, eh?
I must be missing him. But anyways, I mean, nonetheless, seeing those guys at the top.
Hall of Famers for sure. Yeah. So I guess we could switch over to baseball.
Yeah.
And
could do that.
Russell Martin is the newest member of the L.A. Dodgers. Thank you, Los Angeles, for getting rid of, I don't even know how much he was making. I know it was a lot.
Over $20 million
so
a season.
Thank you.
I mean, ideally, this is the last year of his contract anyways.
Oh, well.
But you look at, with this move, I think this right here just cements what the Jays' plans are.
Rebuild.
Not even that. You're playing your young guys
Yeah.
Getting rid of a guy like Tulowitzki. Getting rid of Solarte, Diaz, Russell Martin.
Tulu and Russell Martin, how much money did they have in between them?
My God, over close to $50 million a season.
And we didn't have to retain anything. I don't know how baseball works in that sense.
You didn't.
Oh, so
you just outright released Troy Tulowitzki. And for Russell Martin, you traded him and you got 2 prospects back.
Mind you, I don't think they're the greatest, are they?
I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot. I mean, for a guy like Russell Martin, who's 36? Yeah, something like that. 36. Actually, yeah, 36 years old, I think he is, or he's going to be 36 in the next week or something.
Right.
But you got back 2 prospects. One's a middle of the level prospect. I'm trying to find that here. Going back to this Russell Martin. Come on, 5 days ago. Thank you, Russ. There it is. There's a Russell Martin deal. I got it here. All right, so they got shortstop Ronnie Burrito, and it's funny in the video I called him Burrito. and right-handed pitcher Andrew Supko. Now, those two players, where is he here? Brito is only 19 years old. Okay. He's a middle infielder. You can never have too many of those. And, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get. He's a 19-year-old player. You don't really know what you got from him. Sure. Supko is 24 years old. He's a starter, and he was in Double-A last year. 3.9 ERA. Again, not the greatest, but it's not terrible.
And plus, it's something for a guy who's... What's he going to be doing?
You got two players under the age of 25 for a 36-year-old who is not going to basically play for this team this year.
And for LA, I mean, I guess it's a good move for them. He can still maybe hit, 15 homers?
Maybe. If he plays every day, which I don't think he will.
On a prone LA team, offensively, so I don't know. Now, speaking of LA Dodgers, Machado looks like he could be heading to the White Sox. Yeah. They gave a massive contract to him, and so is he going to go with the money, or is he going to go with actually winning?
The Yankees actually just signed Adam Ottavino, the really, really good right-handed reliever from the Colorado Rockies. Literally 6 minutes ago it happened. 3-year, $27 million contract.
They're loading up. But it's their starting pitching, which is an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Manny, you think he's going to sign that?
Well, again, there you go. Machado's agent slams completely wrong reports of offers from White Sox. So there you go. There goes that right out the window.
Can we edit that out? That's so funny. Okay, I guess it didn't happen.
But, I mean, look, with all this happening and all the Machado talk, there were so many talks before about him going to the Yankees. With the Yankees acquiring a guy like George Tulowitzki, with them acquiring a guy like Adam Ottavino and getting 3 years of $27 million,
yeah.
Are the Yankees out on Manny Machado?
I don't think they're ever out until he signs somewhere else, to be honest with you. It just seems like the New York Yankees have an unbelievable amount of money. Unbelievable. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. It looks like they are.
And they also signed DJ LeMahieu, who is a very good player for the Colorado Rockies.
Okay.
As a second base. I think they signed him to like a $20 million contract.
It looks like they are out, but you can never count out the Yankees, especially when it's to do with the dollar. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bryce Harper could be on his way, like you said, to Philly. Yankees the talks have stopped.
And as as you and I said in the last podcast, we are what day is it today? The 17th? 17th? Okay, let me just do some research real quick here.
This whole spiel started
February 21st is the first day of spring training. We are almost a month away from spring training, and the two big fish aren't even gone.
Well, I'm just thinking, when did the free agency start? That was in November?
Yeah. Let's say starting November, January, or December, January. That's almost 3 months of nothing. All reports like, oh, these guys offered this. This guy's offered this. And everybody else is going off the list. The funny thing is, I saw online the amount of free agents available right now. And I'm thinking it's the beginning of free agency right now with Harper and Machado still there. Michael Brantley, who played for the Cleveland Indians, who is a constant 300 hitter. He's a fantastic player, still a free agent. They're all free. Adam Jones of the Orioles is still a free agent.
Oh, you think he's going to stay in Baltimore?
No. That he's older now. That team's crap. They're going to be crap for many years.
Yeah, I mean, it would suck to be like a hardcore, because you're obviously more of a hardcore fan than me, but it would suck to be like an extremely hardcore just baseball person, and then you're like, what's going on here?
Like, at least with hockey, you got July 1st, and same with basketballs around the same time too. You got those days where it just all hell breaks loose.
Maybe not the day, but days. Like
the next couple days.
Yeah.
Not the next 2 or 3 months.
Because they have a luxury tax, whatever it's called, a payroll. They don't have a hard cap. So teams are just up. They're just waiting for the perfect amount, kind of like Willie did. They're just waiting.
Yeah, they are just waiting. Because last year, J.D. Martinez, who obviously turned into an amazing player for the Red Sox, he didn't sign until spring training.
Yeah, and this is probably going to happen too. Could you imagine if both players stay with their original team, L.A. and the Nats? Wouldn't that be so funny?
That'd be horrendous. But yeah, I mean,
I know. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. But like you said, we're less than about a month. 5 weeks away from spring training?
Something like that. Now, do you want to briefly touch on this?
Go ahead.
For the Jays?
Go ahead.
Because we got to find a way to talk about them somehow. Every team, free agent needs the relievers. And that's something the
the
Jays,
Jays.
desperately do need. I think positionally, I think they're okay. Starting pitching-wise, they've added Shoemaker and Clayton Richard, who
They're not the greatest. They're not the deepest.
No.
Actually, you know
Well,
what?
the starters, you mean? Or...
Starters, I would say they're deep, but they're not good.
Right. You have Stroman, Sanchez, Ryan Baraki, and you just signed Shoemaker and Clayton Richard. Will those two guys even make the team? I
So
don't
you're
know.
deep, but you're not amazing.
Right. But you have five guys that you can run out there every day, whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Relievers, you lost Sungwano at the deadline. You lost Tyler Clippard to free agency.
Osuna.
You lost Osuna. You got Giles back to kind of replace him, but yeah, he was good for the Jays. I'm gonna let him go this year.
Okay.
And you lost John Axford at the deal last.
So how many relievers do we have now? I know free agency isn't over. Well, it's never over.
Let me go to the Jays roster and kind of go off of that. Danny Barnes, Joe Biagini, if he's a flipping reliever, we don't even know what the hell he is. Sam Gaviglio, he was a guy who started last year. I don't know what he's going to do this year. Yeah. Tim Meza, a guy who I think they're going to run with this year. You have no lefty standing in this guy's way. I think
so how many relievers do you actually need?
6, something like that.
So you just went through about 4 or 5.
Barnes, Biagini,
Giles,
Meza. Maybe David Paulino, but he's a guy that I don't really know.
So you're looking...
David Phelps, they signed in free agency. Ryan Tepera. Trent Thornton's a guy. I'm actually very intrigued. This is the guy we got in one of the trades with the Houston Astros. I forgot what it was for.
No, it wasn't.
No. It was in the off season.
An off-season trade.
Weird. I'm gonna go to the Houston Astros roster real quick and find this out.
Well, you could just go to the news on that guy.
That's true. I probably could because there's probably not a lot of news when it comes to that guy, Trent Thornton. Let me go down to him. Trent Thornton news. There we are. Nothing. Okay, but he was acquired from the Houston Astros by the Jays.
Right, so you're looking...
And he's a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
He's 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if he battles Clayton Richard and beats him for a spot in the rotation.
So we maybe need one guy, but all those guys you said are nothing really that special. Other than maybe, Sam Gaviglio?
Well, as the starter?
Well, no, we're just going off the relievers.
Well, Gaviglio's a starter.
Oh,
Biagini, Barnes,
Giles is probably the best one.
Meza, maybe David Paulino, who was acquired in the Osuna deal. David Phelps, they actually signed in off-season. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. I don't even think he'll be ready to start the season. And then you have Ryan Tepera, possibly Trent Thornton if you have him in the deadline. But they have the list there, and they have the off-season needs for every team, and it was relievers for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Because our offense looks pretty good. Outfield looks okay. First base, second base, whatever, shortstop. Like you said, it's just the pitching, and it's always been the pitching. Starting and relieving.
Now, I think there's not much else to talk about when it comes to the baseball side of things, but the last thing I want to talk about, and it's related to baseball and football, Kyler Murray, Oakland A's prospect, has declared for the NFL draft.
That's smart.
That was a couple days ago, and I think he's giving the A's a couple times to kind of like overextend their offer to keep him around, which I don't think will end up happening.
Would he want to go to an NFL team? Mind you, he's probably going to be in like the late... Whoa, hold on. He's probably going to be in maybe like the late first, kind of like a Lamar Jackson. Could drop. James, you want to say something?
Come to the New York Giants. Please, because we need a quarterback. Eli is a scrub now.
Yep. And you can learn from Eli Manning.
Watching that guy wheel around is crazy. Kyler Murray.
Murray, yeah.
Have hit that speed with Saquon?
Well, you already brought up football, so why don't you shout out Skip Bayless?
No, I will not shout out Skip. I'll shout him out for the Cowboys losing. Hell yeah. You guys saw my tweets on Twitter and all that stuff. I don't like Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys, Skip Bayless? How about them Cowboys? How about them Rams? I'm telling you that one. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. How about that Dak Prescott? Oh, it was so funny. Stephen A. Smith was on. Was he on First Take now? No, it's First Take, and he got out the cigar. He got out the cowboy hat. He Best day.
And Shannon Sharp brought out a garbage bag for the Dallas Cowboys. So there you go. Yeah, because they're going packing. They're going home. Gotta pack up.
Skip Bayless is just refreshed for next year. And
good for him. They're out. Yeah. I don't care.
It was close, though. Well, at points it was.
So anyways, Kyler Murray, please come to the New York Giants.
Yeah, and if somehow he can drop to the second round, the Saints would love to pick him up.
Yeah, no, they won't. The Giants would like Drew Brees. Calm down.
We don't even have a second round pick.
Oh, so there you go. So then Bugger off. You already traded your first round pick too, didn't you?
We did for Davenport.
So you have a third round pick. Well, there you go.
Hey,
Anyways.
maybe if he drops, you never know.
But okay, enough about the football talk. You and I can go on about it for hours.
Yeah,
but
we can.
Kyler Murray, come to the Giants, please. Yeah. All right, so do you have a podcast question? I think we have like one or a few of
from
them.
our biggest fan, Roderick.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that here. Let me go to the profile and podcast questions. All right, so Roderick, the one question we do have from you, bud, why do you think the Maple Leafs have not had a shootout so far this season? I think it's plain and simple. I think it's the damn talent.
And I think it's just the 3-on-3 overtime. When they brought in 3-on-3 overtime, like 2 years ago, they wanted to eliminate the shootout. Not completely, but I think in the next maybe 10, 15 years, they're going to eliminate the shootout completely. And I want that to happen.
I do agree. And I think I think it's luck as well. Because I think there's been a few of the games where the Leafs have scored in overtime in the dying seconds. Because, dude, remember Austin Matthews against Buffalo? He scored with like a second and a half to go.
3-on-3 overtime's crazy. Like it literally looks like shinny out there.
It really does. And it's so much fun to watch.
It is. And I hate the shootout. I never liked it. It's a stupid way to decide what team's better.
It's not the best team that wins. It's the who's better one-on-one against the goalie.
Mind you, 3-on-3 overtime is a bit kind of crazy and wonky at some points, but it's better than the shootout.
But it's more entertaining than the shootout.
Oh, for sure.
And the shootout is basically breakaway, which is usually fun, but no one likes it.
No, and plus it's not an actual game. You're not playing an actual game.
So anyways, bud, to answer your question, why do you think the Leafs have not had a shootout so far this year? I think it's a little bit of luck, and it's a little bit of it's really talented.
And this is what the league wants, to eliminate shootouts, and 3-on-3 overtime has been doing that. So
yeah, so I think that answers your question there, Roderick. Thanks very much for the question, and I think that's just going to wrap
it up. Episode 3 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast.
Season 2, episode 3.
Season 2. Thank you guys for listening so much. Next week, same time, same place?
Yeah, either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll keep you guys posted in the comments. Work schedule has been very similar.
Stable.
Thank God.
Thank
God. It's been a while since that's happened. But yeah, same time, guys. Same time, same place next week. Either Wednesday or Thursday. Evan and I will talk it over. Yeah. And we really appreciate your guys' support every single week. And Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime next week. And I will talk to you guys tonight as the Leafs and Raptors are in action. Leafs in Tampa taking on the Lightning. Raptors at home taking on the Suns as both teams look to get a victory. And I'm shaving this beard because whenever I don't, our team's going on a losing streak. It seems to happen all the time now. So it's going today, and we'll kind of test that theory out.
Well, during Movember, they were pretty good because you were growing it hard.
When I was growing it hard. See, this is just me not shaving for any particular reason. And the last time they did that, the Leafs lost 3 straight, and the Raptors lost 2 straight. I shave it. Raptors go on a 5-game win streak. Leafs win a couple in a row. So this is gone today, and we'll see what happens. If the Leafs beat Tampa tonight, and this is gone, no coincidence.
I guess that's how superstitious you are. So might as well.
I'm trying my best to help the Leafs out in any state of mind.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening. And Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime next week. Season 2, episode 4 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys then.
Peace.